Move my basin over. Notice that I am moving side to side. I'm not taking big steps. I'm just kind of rocking back and forth. The less movement, the better in your sterile field. Out of my basin come my Ratex, my Bovie, needle holder, specimen container, med cup labels, marking pen, my hypodermic needle, and my syringe. And that's all that I have in my basin. Now I can go get my instruments. First thing I'm going to do is roll a blue towel. So take my blue towel. I fold the two corners together. Open it up long ways while it's still folded in half. For a minor set. For a major set, this will be different, but for a minor set, we don't have that many instruments. I lay it out. I fold in the top two corners, and I roll my towel tightly. Remember, we're making a nice little neck pillow for our instruments to rest on. I want to make sure that I have enough left over so that my instrument tips will be on my towel. I don't want my instrument tips to be on my back table cover. They may poke through. So I've got my nice little towel. Now I go over and get my instruments. Once again, putting my booty way out so the front of my gown doesn't touch anything that it's not supposed to. Put my booty out, arms up and out, hands go inside, and pull the casket out, making sure that there is nothing touching. We wait for our circulator if there is a filter in there to tell us the filter is good. When it is, we can bring those instruments to our table. Okay, we have Doc's special instrument here. So we don't want to lose that. We know that doctor wants to use that special instrument we opened. So I'm going to open a towel. I'm going to drape my Mayo stand. Move that back so you can see all that. I'm going to put Doc's special instrument up there first. That way I don't forget it. Okay. Now I'm going to take my instruments out of the casket. I've got my nice little neck pillow here for them. Lay them down. Pull out my stringer. It goes underneath my basket. And I set up my instruments with non-teeth on one side, teeth on the other, and I make sure that they go smallest to biggest. I am then going to set up my retractors. Take my knife handles out before I bury them. They can go right here. And finally my sharp little sends. Okay, at this point I can now count with my circulator, or if my circulator is busy I can continue to set up my Mayo stand. If my circulator is not busy, however, we will go ahead and count. When we count Ratex, they have to be separated. Same thing with lap sponges. So we're not going to count 1, 2, 3. That's not separating the sponges. We're not sure that there's not two stuck together. So we're actually going to separate them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We always start with sponges. Then we can move on to whatever else either your circulator wants or whatever you feel comfortable with. But I make sure I show my circulator. I have blades 1, hypos 1, suture needle 1, and then when I count my bovie, I want to make sure I show the tip. Bovie 1. This is what is sharp and countable. The handpiece will not get left in a patient. If the tip falls off, that's what could possibly get lost in there. All right, we did our count. Now our circulator would give us our meds. So we would take our containers, our circulator, we'd step out of our sterile field, our circulator would show us the bottle and say this is 1/4% lidocaine with epinephrine, 1 to 200,000. We would repeat back, 1/4% lidocaine with epinephrine, 1 to 200,000, expires April of 2013. And they would pour our med into our medicine cup. We would then label whatever it is that our medication is and put a med label on our medicine cup. Then we would take our syringe. We would drop 10 mils of whatever our medication is, and we would label our syringe with what that is. Put your hypo on, put it up ready for your doc. Okay, remember our doctors are toddlers. We have to protect them. So we are going to make sure that we keep all of the sharp things, all of the dangerous things away from the toddlers. So first thing we're going to do is figure out where we're going to be. We are always going to stand at the edge of our Mayo stand. The edge of our Mayo stand that has the controls for the Mayo stand going up and down. We don't want to give the doctors controls of our Mayo stand either. We want to make sure that we're controlling that and that the toddlers have no access to any of that. So we put our sharps container at the top of our Mayo stand, and that way the toddlers can't reach it without us knowing. Next we have our Raytech. Raytech are not going to hurt anybody. They're a doctor's favorite toy. So let's put something for the toddlers to play with. I like to lay my Raytech out for a breast biopsy because my hands are usually busy helping the surgeon. So I lay my Raytech out, give them something fun to do, something to entertain themselves with. Now we're going to think about the procedure. So the first thing we're going to do is mark the site. Mark where we're going to make the incision. Next, we're going to inject some local so that the patient doesn't feel any of the incisions as they're made. Then we're going to make the incision. We have a 15 blade that requires a number 3 knife handle. I am going to put my blade on my knife handle. Once again, pointing down, I just slide my blade onto my knife handle. Using needle holders, not our fingers, not a hemostat, something with some gription. Okay, next thing we're doing, we make an incision, we hemostase. Always, after every incision comes the bovie. Don't forget this. Your surgeons will judge you on whether or not you remember this. I like to put my bovie just over here next to my Raytech because once again, the surgeon can play with this while I'm doing stuff over here to get ready for the case. So while I'm throwing off cords, I give my surgeon another toy to play with. So, incision, hemostase, dissect. There are 2 things we can use to dissect. We can use Metzenbaum scissors and a DeBakey, or we can use the bovie. I guess there's 3 things, or we can use hemostats. So I'm going to put my DeBakeys up along with my special AdSense the doc had, and my scissors come next. And then I put up just 2 hemostats. And the hemostats we don't always use, but they're there just in case we encounter a bleeder, just in case doctor needs to dissect bluntly. When in doubt, hand a hemostat. So, Metzenbaum scissors, hemostat. We've done dissect. Last, for our top of our sandwich, is retract. We don't know at this point how big the lump is. So we're going to set up 2 sets of retractors. We're going to take our Army Navies and our little Sen retractors. Sen retractors are sharp. So once again, we want to point away from the toddlers. We want the sharp end towards us and pointing away from our sterile field so the toddlers don't hurt themselves when they reach on our Mayo stand. Retract. Now we're going to do the procedure. Procedure involves grabbing 2 Ellises to be able to grab the biopsy specimen and take it out. Notice that I'm ratcheting each of my instruments on the first ratchet as I put them up on my Mayo stand. Alice, there's our procedure. Now we start on the bottom part of our sandwich. So now we're going to irrigate. Our circulator gave us our irrigation, so we have our irrigation there. We're going to leave it on our back table. We don't want water leaking all over the back table. We don't want water leaking all over our Mayo stand. So we leave our irrigation in our basin. Why don't we want water everywhere? Because of strike through. Remember that water is like a super highway to bacteria. So we want to make sure that all of our water is contained in something that can't get to our cloth things.